completely scorched earth. Donald Trump, rip roaring. Some of the Davos highlights. Let's see here. I don't want to play a ton of long clips. ALX, these are like relatively short clips. I don't want to play like tons of long clips, but there's some big high notes here, right? First off, this is the top line right now at the Daily Mail. Europe would be speaking German or Japanese were it not for America. Way to set the table. You never heard a president say this before. Boom, go.
And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened.
President Trump confirming that he used sonic weapons in the raid of Maduro, which is awesome. Do we have that clip, ALX? Just let me know. That's the one I would really love to play because Donald Trump is giving major warning signs to the rest of the world, including Canada and France. Let's play these back to back, where President Trump decided to go directly at the Canadian and French leaders and saying, stop effing around. The find out period is now.
Going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. Well,
Remember that, Mark Carney, the next time you make your statements. Let's go, Macron.
We want a piece of ice for world protection, and they won't give it. We've never asked for anything else, and we could have kept that piece of land, and we didn't. So they have a choice. You can say yes, and we will be very appreciative, or you can say no, and we will remember.
President Trump talking that hard smack at Davos. You can say no, and we will remember. We will remember. Ladies and gentlemen, now the Emmanuel Macron clip. No stress.
Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful
Emmanuel,
sunglasses.
your beautiful sunglasses.
What the hell?
We'll show you that. We'll show you that in a second.
But I watched him sort of be tough. But he was at $10 for a pill. And I said, Emmanuel, and I have all the big pharmaceutical companies are in total agreement. It wasn't easy, by the way. They're tough, smart. They've been getting away with this scam for a long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the glasses that President Trump is talking about are these Emmanuel Macron glasses. ALX tells me that he was wearing these glasses because he had eye surgery or whatever. I think that he's just trying to bring about a new look, to try and look tougher. Didn't work for Joe Biden. It won't work for you. You will surrender, as France always does, to President Trump when it comes to acquiring Greenland. Shall we acquire Greenland? Here's President Trump saying, no, we're taking Greenland.
In 2019, Denmark said that they would spend over $200 million to strengthen Greenland's defenses. But as you know, they spent less than 1% of that amount. 1%. There's no sign of Denmark there. And I say that with great respect for Denmark, whose people I love, whose leaders are very good. It's the United States alone that can protect this giant mass of land, this giant piece of ice, develop it and improve it and make it so that it's good for Europe and safe for Europe and good for us. And that's the reason I'm seeking immediate negotiations to once again discuss the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, just as we have acquired many other territories throughout our history, as many of the European nations have. They've acquired, there's nothing wrong with it. Many of them, some went in reverse, actually, if you look. Some had great, vast wealth, great, vast lands all over the world. They went in reverse. They're stuck back where they started. That happens too. But some grow. But this would not be a threat to NATO. This would greatly enhance the security of the entire alliance, the NATO alliance.
I love that President Trump is bringing back the Great Wars and reminding people, what leadership did we have after those wars? Virtually none. I mean, they killed the one guy that was trying to create an American empire. His name was Kennedy. They put in only cucks and America last apparatchiks. I don't know why. I have to assume it's in order to keep America at bay, in order to try and play nice, in order to try and prove that we're not the monsters that you just fought in Europe. Sorry, like, that's not the way that humanity works. This isn't the Coca-Cola ad. This isn't the small world ride at Disney. The world is a nasty and mean and ugly place, and it punches you hard in the face. And if you can't punch back, if you can't keep moving forward, if you can't hit back, then you are going to be beat down. The world has always been like that and will always be like that. There is no kumbaya, and there is no moment of serenity. It's always been this way. Conquer or be conquered. Doesn't mean you have to light every place on fire and burn it to ashes. I would be very much in favor of a peace that is brought about by strength. And that is, of course, what America seeks to do now, what President Trump is seeking to do now. That strength was on full display. Here's Donald Trump roasting the front row, saying, you won't even look me in the eye. What a world we're living in right now. 6 or 7 places, people in this area, I know all of them. They're looking down right now. They don't want to see me. They don't want to stare me in the eye. Look at what Trump does here. He points at world leaders. He's like, you won't even look at me, you scum, you cowards. It's time for Europe to admit that the entire New World Order has failed. The post-World War II order failed. Here's Trump literally pointing out the leaders, saying, none of you will even look at me. You know, was looking at Trump? Gavin Newsom. Wild. Look at this. Gavin Newsom here. Looking terrified.
It was just like hustling.
It's just like hustling. Gavin Newsom. Scared little sheep. Standing there. Worried about President Trump remaking the world. Why is Gavin Newsom there at all? President Trump saying, you called me daddy. Do we have that clip? It's pretty funny. Michelle Obama is going to be on Call Her Daddy show today. Ooh, all right. Well, little on the nose there for Mike. Yeah, little on the nose. Call me daddy. Okay. Okay, Michelle. Right. President Trump saying you will call me daddy. Alex Soros is at Davos, flapping the Soros label on Gavin Newsom. There you go. There's only one more clip that I want from Trump, and that's Trump on the Somalis. Okay, great. Trump went hard in the paint on the Somalis. Trump went hard in the paint and talked about how, wait a second, it's, just because you were flown over here on a government plane doesn't make you an American. Well, something that we've been saying for a long time. We have a culture here. We are a people. This isn't just some type of borderless world where every person should just flock anywhere that they want to go and that everything's going to be kumbaya. It doesn't work that way. Cultures work because they have shared values. When you bring people here that have none of your shared values or language or traditions or IQs or a desire to not inbreed, then look it up. Oh, it's so offensive. Look it up. Then, you're going to have a collapsed society. And so here's President Trump speaking This is like the death knell for globalism. So the idea of globalism is the idea that every single culture, every culture is exactly the same. There's no culture that's better than another culture, that you can just take a bunch of people from the third world and dump them into the heart of Western civilization and everything will go fine. And that's not true. And there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of dead and raped Europeans that prove that's not true. There's a reason why there has to be barriers around the Christmas markets in Germany now. How's that multiculti working out for you, Germans? It's not great. Destroyed your nation. President Trump saying we're not going to destroy ours. Here we go.
The situation in Minnesota reminds us that the West cannot mass import foreign cultures which have failed to ever build a successful society of their own. I mean, we're taking people from Somalia, and Somalia is a failed, it's not a nation. Got no government, got no police, got no military, got no nothing. And then we have this fake congressperson who they just reported is worth $30 million. You believe this? Ilhan Omar, talking about the Constitution provides me. She comes from a country that's not a country, and she's telling us how to run America. Not going to get away with it much longer, let me tell you.
She comes from a country that's not a country. All right, Daddy's home, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. This is the clip. President Trump saying, "You called me Daddy. This is going to be the moment." And very much acting like Daddy at this thing. 10 for 10 from me on the judges scale, I got to tell you. That was one of the best Trump speeches ever. And a fitting conclusion right here.
A few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me Daddy, right, last time. Very smart man said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running it. I went from running it to being a terrible human being.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trump just mogging at the World Economic Forum.